Look, they gave Energizer batteries. I'm really surprised. It's awesome. Look, I've never tested these speakers too, but I talked about these speakers. These are some older Logitechs. Look, I picked them up. I paid half price, so I got these for $5. And anyways, we're about to see how they sound. So here's the deal. I don't got an OS, and I mean, if anything, if it doesn't have an OS on there, I'm just only going to be able to boot into the BIOS, and that's all we're going to see today. But I want to see if the video cards work. I mean, if it just powers on, who knows? Okay, so they do turn on. So I got this Logitech USB keyboard to go along with it. I probably thrifted this for $2.99. And we'll test the front USBs with this. And I'll put it in the back because I don't know what the wires do, so we'll put it in the back. So this is an older monitor too, but what I like about it, you can't find these anymore. I'll show you the back. Is that it has the TV tuner, it has the HDMI, regular component inputs, but also still the PCI VGA. Like having the component and especially the VGA has completely been removed from new monitors. And so that's why I like these old monitors, because look, it has 3 HDMI inputs and a USB. So this is just not, it's more made to be like a television rather than a computer screen. So I've never even tried this monitor, guys. We're gonna see if the power's on right now. Okay, it is. I guess it's on. And so these video cards too, they have a DVI out. An old, sorry. What do they have? So yeah, it has. So that's what I was saying. It has a DVI out, which I do have the cable, but the monitor does not have a DVI in. So I got to use this thing, which I'm real glad it came with, so that I can plug that monitor into the video card, into the monitor. So that's what we're gonna do. This is a USB on here too. I'm sure it had a use. I don't know why. I'm not going to use it. A lot of these little things, especially this dongle, I would not be able to test any of this out if this computer did not come with this dongle attached. And it was attached to the point where like the inner nut was loose, so you couldn't unscrew this outer one, and so the guy just left it on there. Anyways, I took it off quick because these are things that you don't want to bend. But I had to go home and wait to have tools to do that. So I'm just gonna try. I don't know which video card to try. I probably should have only put one in there, but it had both, so I'm just going to put it in one and see what happens. Because there's not like a connector to use them as one. So I don't know how this will work. Maybe it's just 2 separate video cards or something. So one thing that I do prefer about newer computers and newer technology, which I say one of them is because I've seen USB change from the very, very first USB 1.0s that came out to what it still is now, that we still use the same connection. It's changed and been modified, but it's cool that so much is still backwards compatible with USB. So that's one of them, but I guess that's more of a long-term thing. The one that I really like is HDMI. I think that is actually cool. It's just very nice to just have the plug and have such a huge ability for the bit rate for the picture and also the sound all in one. So I will say that is way better than these older things. So here we go. I think I have one more plug, the actual computer. Let's see. So it didn't have that, but look, I got one of these plugs. I need to get more of these. I have one of these extra plugs that I just test everything with. So I need to have a second one. Or I'll probably have more actually with my amps if I find them, but if they go bad is what I'm saying, that I gotta go grab another one. So I'm gonna plug this in. I'm gonna plug it into this outlet over here. It's on a separate circuit. Okay, there's a lot of wires going everywhere. Okay, let's plug in the audio wire. Right here, the little green wire. If this has an OS on here, that'll be okay. So okay, good. It's got. That'll be sweet. Okay, so it's already on. It's blowing air. Okay, so I'm gonna turn off this light. Maybe it gives you guys better contrast now. So nothing's coming up on my screen. Okay, it's just beeping. Okay, let's see what's happening. Okay, the power fan is on. Well, these lights are on. Okay, it's off. Okay, it's off. Okay, it's possibly the wrong video card. Or I didn't turn on the monitor, but I thought the monitor would just turn on by itself. Let's see, maybe I need to turn the monitor on. I hate finding these power buttons now. Because these power buttons, they make them like little squares now. I like televisions that have a lot of buttons. Okay, so this is... I bet you it's posting. I bet you the monitor is just not working. Keyboard's on. Okay, so that's working. Computer's on. Okay, we got a monitor issue here, guys. Okay, again, I've never tested this monitor actually. Okay, I think I got this monitor for like $8 or something. I was just like, okay, this is literally the first time I've ever plugged it in. Okay, so I'm gonna turn it back off. I'm gonna switch it to the second video card and see if that flips on. Okay, so I already have that issue again where the nut and the bolts are getting like stuck on there, so I'm not gonna screw this on. We're just gonna lightly. I'm gonna only screw these like 2 times. Okay, let's try it again. Yeah, I should probably open the side to see the video card. The fans are coming on the video cards. Okay, so yeah, the hard drive's reading. I saw the hard drive come on. The hard drive light, I mean. Huh. Okay, there's definitely. Let me go get a different monitor. Okay, let me get a different monitor. Okay, I got another monitor here. I'm gonna clean it off, guys, because this is just a dusty one. But it does. It's got HDMI and the composite and the regular DVI, and it has buttons on this side. So I never need a remote for this one. And these, in my opinion, are the best monitors. So the ones that you don't need remotes. And it has a television tuner too. So, and it's got speakers on there too. That's what I'm saying. That's what's nice about these. The ones that are supposed to be televisions, because they have integrated speakers. And yeah, they're not the best, but hey, it's like you got the sound there. So, okay, that's good enough. So this has its own plug. It's pretty hefty, actually. You know, I imagine the power supply in there's pretty big if it's got one of these plugs. So, but that's what it is. Okay, let me wipe down the screen real quick. I think it's like 19 inches, probably 19, no bigger than 19. By the way, one of my friends told me he just got a 32-inch monitor. I understand people get stuff that big, but when I hear 32 inches now, I'm just like, that's like a television. And to think that, like, we back then, I'm telling you, my television, we had again, I talked about this in a previous live stream, the 35-inch Sony Trinitron, which, okay, it wasn't like the largest, but man, it was like close to one of the largest CRT TVs you could ever have. And that thing was so big. When I was a kid, I remember, and I would sit so close to that. And to think, like, now people are just giving away TVs that are essentially the equivalent, like, of that size. You know, 40-inch television, 43-inch television, and then now we're putting televisions or screens that large on our desktop, and that used to be a whole thing that your whole room was centered around. So, yeah, we've come a long way. And here we go. This is like my second to last bag of these. It's pretty good. I'll just say I prefer the hot fries the most, but again, I got these for cheap, and I really enjoy the chili cheese corn chips. So I was kind of hoping that these have a similar flavor, but I mean, while they taste good enough for me to eat, I wouldn't say I'm going to buy them again, and I would still prefer the chili cheese corn chips. You know, I've been eating those since they came out, and I think that's probably one of the best Frito products. Because who eats the plain ones? You know, unless you mix it with something, you're eating like a taco salad, right? So here we go. I'm gonna open this up for you. Okay, it's fresh. Still got a lot of puff in there. Okay, here. What do they look like? Okay. So I want to compare these to hot fries because I'm a huge Andy Capp's hot fries fans, and essentially what it comes down to, I'll make it quick, is they're bigger, and their chips have changed way over the years. They're all like very uniform size. They used to all be different shapes and lengths, and in general they were big like this, and they've gotten smaller and more greasy over the years, but I still eat them. And they make a different flavor of those Andy Capp fries. But I only like the hot fries versions. Here we go. I know I'm not on camera, but you're gonna hear the crunch. I'm gonna eat 2 of them at a time. Here we go. Okay. They definitely have a much different texture and flavor than the Andy Capp's fries. These are I wouldn't say so airy. They actually feel like a mashed potato, like once it fully crushes into your mouth, rather than a corn chip. So let's see, ingredients wise, eating this whole bag of 2 servings. So I'm getting almost 40 grams of fat. Okay, that's like almost 50% of my day's worth of fat in this one bag of chips. Okay, it has a small amount of sugar, which if had any more than 1 or 2 grams of sugar, I would not eat this because I do not like sweet chips. I do not like kettle corn popcorn and stuff. It's just not my thing. Okay, I don't like caramel popcorn. Cheddar popcorn, you know, that's, I'm all good. Cheddar and butter. Okay. So here we go. That's about it. There's essentially no other nutritional value to this other than the carbs. And with that nearly 50% days worth of fat for the carbs, I mean for the fat, you're getting about a little bit more than 1/4 of your day's worth of carbs. But here's the thing. So here's the thing about chips actually too. So while it is a lot of fat, and this has completely changed, okay? If you look here, almost all the fat is polyunsaturated. Okay, the other thing to know about this too is that even though it says 0 grams of trans fat, there's a minimum threshold for them to actually make the number change. So this can have trans fats in it. You do have to really look at the data sheets, but it's just so little that it's not enough for the FDA to put a number to it. So that's something really interesting. A lot of people don't know. They just think it has 0 trans fats. Another thing about trans fats is that trans fats happen naturally, and they happen naturally as you fry oil and cook, and that's why it tastes good. So anyways, that's the idea behind trans fats, is that it already makes the food taste good without having to cook it. But I'm just saying, if you're cooking any of your food in oil, doesn't matter, olive oil, you're eating trans fats when it's done. So I'm not condoning it or saying, oh, blah, 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 something against it. But all I'm just trying to explain that just like gluten-free, you're probably not one of the 10,000 people that gets diarrhea every time you eat bread. And if you do, then you truly have celiac disease. But if you just do that because you have a lot of money and you just want to look good while you drink wine, you definitely do not have celiac disease, okay? So anyways, these are pretty good. I'm going to get back to my computer. We're going to hook this up. So what's up, Daniel Hallman, 954. What up? Welcome to my streams. Anything goes in my streams. I mostly complain, but I also show off my thrift items. Talk about my movies. Talk about music. But here we go. What we got going right here is a Dell Precision T3500. Came out in 2009 or 2010, and when it did come out, it was a beast. And the thing about it is, it has limited upgradability. But what I'm saying is, it has a Xeon processor, which is equivalent to like one of the highest i7s of the same class. Okay. Then this board, though, you could, when it was made, you could only install 24 gigs of RAM. That was because of the limitation of RAM. And later on, they made 8 gig sticks of DDR RAM. It's very specific, okay, with this computer, actually. You have to, like, get specific RAM, and they all have to match. But when you get all the specific RAM that matches, you can have 48 gigs of tri-channel DDR3, which is killer. So I think 32 is kind of what I aim for now. And to have 48 would just be awesome on this. So this only has 6 gigs of memory, which sucks, but okay, that's what we got. It's got a 300 gigabyte Raptor 10k